Hi everyone, it's Andrew from Remote Tribe, and we are in beautiful Bansko for the Bansko Nomad Fest, and I'm joined here by Mark from Nomad Stays. I'll let him introduce himself.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. Yes, I'm Mark Phillips. I'm the founder of Nomad Stays. Some of you may have heard about it. We are a startup, about 5 years old, and we do a global accommodation booking platform specifically for digital nomad-ready properties and events. So a bit like an Airbnb or Booking.com, but only for nomads. And obviously our typical offering is a lot longer and larger than what you get in the leisure tourism market.
Mark, thanks a lot for joining me. I want to discuss a few really interesting things about doing a business for digital nomads and remote workers, because it's a very specific niche, I think. I think it's a niche that it's way smaller than we thought initially, from my perspective. And I just want to ask you about the challenges and the pros and cons and the learnings that you had with Nomad Stays when you build the platform, the online platform for digital nomads. So just let's start by telling me, how did you start with the idea, and then also how it progressed and what kind of challenges you had?
Okay. So let's backtrack a few years. I've been a traveller a lot of my life.
Yeah.
I've travelled more than 100 countries. Even before being a nomad, I would always throw business trips, travels onto my business trips. Back in 2015, 10 years ago, my wife and I left our last place in Noosa, Australia, packed up our car and went travelling around Australia. But we were still running our business. At that point in time, we were running a consultancy for startups. We had worked in startup accelerator programs, incubator programs.
So you had some past experience in doing startup. Was it mostly in the digital space or like brick and mortar?
Well, it's a mixture. So I'm an accountant by training, and I've spent most of my career in the tech industry with people like Microsoft and Apple. And when I retired from corporate life, I went mentoring global startups. So yes, have a lot of experience.
Did that help in building the?
Yes, the skills I already had. Linda, my partner, had different skills in international hospitality.
Yeah, great. And so you started the platform on your own, I guess. And then how did you develop the business, and what challenges you had? Because obviously you have to bring spaces, users on the platform. How did you go about that? It's not easy. It's very competitive in the market.
No, you're right. I actually have a small ebook called Your First 100 Days.
Great.
So what we're trying to do is break a business down into small bite-sized chunks as a startup advisor. So we used our book and our learnings to do it ourselves. First of all, I've had a business in travel before. I've sat on boards and committees. I was actually a director of a hotel school, international hotel school. So I have some knowledge. And when I went travelling, we would try and stay for longer, but they would be trying to charge us tourist prices. But we said, you've got all these empty rooms. Why don't we negotiate a deal? We started doing that, and we said, there's a whole market now of people like us that travel full time, stay longer, but are looking for a lower nightly rate, but the end result is you make more money. Yeah. So we tested it in Australia, and it worked really well. So first of all, we got cheaper places to stay, and the properties started diversifying their market and making more money. And I said, this is good. So we found that there was a natural connection. And we said, all right, let's build a platform. We built a one-pager. We put it out on something like Product Hunt, and said, this is what we're going to do. And in 24 hours, we signed up 280 people. So that was our validation that a lot of other people saw value in this as well. Said, great. Now we've got that. We understand the financials, the dynamics from the industry. I'm not a developer, although I've worked in the tech industry, but I know how to put the tech together. We do have demand. Let's go and build an initial platform. And we only did an MVP, minimum viable product.
Did you test it with Nomads? Did you ask remote workers, travelers about the platform initially? Was that baked in the product first in the MVP, or you've done the testing after?
So what actually happened was we realised from our experience in the travel industry is that 2/3 of the world's travel is in Europe. So we applied for a French tech visa as a tech startup. So we put a pitch deck together, we put a 5-page website together and said, this is our idea. we would like to bring it to France under your visa. And they accepted us. So we literally just jumped on a plane, came to France. We were sponsored by a business accelerator in the French Alps.
Yep.
They are part of the French system. They're very keen for international. They're very keen for tourism. So that was our first foreign network.
Interesting, yeah. So that obviously helped a lot developing the platform, and then as you developed it, because now it's a fully fledged platform. I mean, it's functional. You've got a lot of spaces there. It looks great. What kind of challenges did you have? How, like the major ones, I would say, and also what challenges do you have right now?
So first of all, startups are hard. Even as an experienced startup guy, they're hard.
Yeah, and the chance of failing is also very high.
Yeah, but you can't think about that because you can't, we are driven by this passion to make travel easier for nomads. We have this because we've suffered ourselves. We know we can do it easier. Yeah. So that's what drives us every day. Yeah. But we have had many challenges. So what happened is that first of all, we didn't get residency for 18 months. Yeah. We'd run out of visa. We had to start moving countries. I was here in Bansko when I got a phone call from the French, said, come and get your visa. So I flew back to France, got my visa. They were real. And so suddenly we could have a home. But we didn't have a platform. We started building. In fact, we did most of our development here in Bansko over about a 3-month period to get our first active site.
That's interesting. So you set up a base here and you started working in Bansko because it was quiet, affordable. So you chose a place to go monk mode and build a platform, right?
So I actually discovered Bansko 11 years ago riding a motorcycle from China actually through this area. I discovered this is really beautiful. And what happened was that co-working Bansko had kicked off in the late 90s. You can see their marketing, and Bansko became the centre of digital nomads in Europe pre-COVID. And so why don't we go there? It's outside of the Schengen zone at the time. We've run out of time in Europe as an Australian. We needed to get out, so we used that for our gap.
Yeah, back then Bulgaria was not in Schengen, so yeah, you played it right. Cool. So what advice would you give to entrepreneurs who like to travel and want to build businesses and services for digital nomads and remote workers?
Okay, so let me just talk about the hardest part as a nomad, is that you lose continuity. You don't have a common network all the time. You might have online clients, you might even some online suppliers, but you're not in their face. And there's only so much you can do online.
That's right.
And it's hard being in startups, and particularly in another country and so forth. So you need to surround yourself with people that are knowledgeable. But if you're traveling all the time, it's hard to walk into these places and access this sort of people. So we said, you know what, we're going to do the same thing in Australia that we did. No, we do what we did in Australia. We're going to volunteer for startup weekends and help entrepreneurs. So we just did one down the road in Blagoevgrad, excuse my pronunciation, and that opened up a whole network of Bulgarian entrepreneurs, lawyers, accountants, visa people, and we had an instant network after a weekend of volunteering.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's actually a good idea, just to blend into the locals and just get these opportunities, get to know people like that. I always said, travel and network, because you're still traveling. For traveling, you can network. Why not? I mean, you're there. Just take advantage of the time you have there. So
it's more than taking advantage. You actually are going to actively seek opportunities.
Yeah, that's right.
Another example, we volunteered on a Serbian program. We were doing that remotely. Last year, France was doing a diplomatic mission to Serbia about startups. So I said to the French tech ecosystem, hi, we're a foreign business, we represent France, we're doing AI, which is the topic of meeting. I said, okay, come to Paris, please get on the airplane with President Macron, and you're going to meet President Vucic and talk startups. Unbelievable.
You just asked, right? Just yeah.
Just asked.
Fantastic, yeah. And what's next, Mark, for Nomad Stays? What are you working on? What are the next updates?
Well, to be honest, we've had many people copy us over the last couple of years, so we've been caught up in trademarks and building out the platform. We're in 87 countries now. We have about 4,500 rooms, but it's taken years to grow. And we grow about 10% a month.
So when do you guys start?
We opened in 2020, just 6 weeks, well, actually 3 weeks before COVID, so I was a bit nervous.
So 5 years to build about 4,000 rooms, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So it takes time, guys. Remember that as well. Like, be patient, and always validate your product. It's also about market timing, I believe, a lot. I think you guys were there. I think we'll see about that, but because if it's growing, it's a good sign anyway. So
yeah, there is big demand. It's growing. We're getting more and more properties. The challenges every day is different. To be honest, we have a lot of nomads on our platform. Getting consistent supply is our biggest problem.
Yeah. Supply of rooms, you mean?
Supply of rooms.
Yeah.
Getting these apartments around the world to take nomads seriously is something we spend most of our time on.
One last piece of advice for people who want to open up a digital business online and travel and live the dream, basically.
Just be organised. You need to have your discipline in place. You may not get 40 hours done a week, or you might finish, as I have done 3 nights this week, you might finish at 2 o'clock in the morning. You need to be organised and focused. You don't need to conquer the world each day.
Correct.
You need to progress a little bit each day.
At least do some incremental steps every day, take action every day. I also suggest monk mode when you go into a location and you live there for maybe like 2 or 3 months and you work hardcore for like 8-10 hours a day, and then you start traveling a bit more and then you go back. You need these sprints of hard work, I believe, and also take it seriously. You can't really travel much when you work, but you can combine the two in a very nice way.
It depends on what you're working at. So while you're developing, building lots of computer time, you need lots of hours a day, so you want to be more sedate. When you've moved into sales and marketing, you can travel more because you can do it. It's a narrower focus each day.
That's a good tip, actually. I didn't think about that, but it makes sense, yeah. All right, guys, thanks a lot. We're going to leave a link in the description, and we'll see you soon. We're going to bring more content from Bansko. See you soon. Take care.